Hey guys, so welcome back to another episode on the Falcon YouTube channel. So we are 10 episodes in. Number 10, I can't believe it. It's just been 10 weeks. It's flown by. We've really enjoyed it and I really appreciate all the comments. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's been subscribing, following the journey, sharing the videos, commenting on the videos, and more so actually attending the lives as well. So I'm always in the live chat and engaging with you guys and girls, and you know, the response has just been insane. So we really do appreciate it. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to actually just fill you in on what's happening next. We have so much in the works that we want to share. We've got some crazy meetups coming very, very soon over in Australia over the next week. So I can't wait to be showing you more about that. And I wanted to take you through a bit of a timeline in this episode actually, and take you back into where Falcon begun. So let's start there. So originally Falcon began just over 2 years ago now. That time has personally flown by. It feels like a bit of a blur. I can't believe it's just gone so quick. And you know, Falcon community, especially you guys and girls that have been in Falcon from the very beginning, you'll know from that part of when we first started, it's just literally just gone so quick. And what an enjoyable journey it's been to meet so many people all around the world. So when we first began, we started with, I think it was about 20 members, something like that. And then we grew to around 100 within the first couple of months. We grew very fast due to our unique approach to the markets, our unique approach to patterns and things like that. The way we look at things is just very clean. And I don't think a lot of people had seen the structure and the simplicity in the way that we look at it. We stripped it all back and we found it to be, you know, really rewarding for people coming in. When I first started this project, the goal was always to inspire, guide, educate, and evolve as many traders around the world. Within the first couple of months, we had hit, I think it was around 10 to 12 countries. Now, we've been in over 100 countries. Falcon's goal is to be in every single country of the world, and that's exactly the path that we're heading on. For myself, from my own experience, the reason why I started Falcon in the first place, I was already, you know, just subtly teaching on the side, helping people, and you know, just guiding them with a few things, and then it turned into, you know, can I help on a weekly basis, etc. And it just evolved into something organic. And the reason why I wanted to say that, because my goal at the beginning wasn't always to teach and do things like that. My own kind of personality, I'm very low key. I like to just keep myself to myself. It wasn't always the mission at the very beginning. But when I realized that, do you know what? The way that I look at the markets, the way that I do things, and the results people were getting from helping, I felt like I'd be doing the world a disservice if I wasn't going to share it on a much deeper level and then do that. And in turn, it's made me a better trader because I've been able to sit there and think, well, what I'm doing a lot of things on a subconscious level, but you know, that doesn't help people. So I need to extract that and help people do that as well. So it's actually made me a better trader. And that's what I love about this project. I've evolved with the market, and it's just been crazy to, you know, see that journey, and just, it's gone so quick. So I'm grateful for the whole entire project. And soon what I'm actually going to do is a full breakdown from the very beginning, my whole journey, so you know where I've learned from, my whole experiences, the ups and downs, and I can't wait to release that video very soon. So that's just a brief introduction into Falcon, but I'm sure you're wondering where we're heading. So since 2019, we've had an incredible start. We had, well, actually, let's go to December. So we had the Christmas party at the end of the year. That was Falcon's first ever, you know, big event, if you like. And we had people flying from all around the world, from places like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, etc. And that was just it was a very, very memorable day. And just, that's all the conversations that I had. I still remember them today. The conversations that I've had then, I've of course met up with Falcon members since then and seen the progression that they've made. It's just been mind blowing. So that memory is going to stay with us forever. Since then, we've had the Birmingham meetup. The first time we was in Birmingham in the UK. That was, where was it? I think it was like the 5th or the 6th of January time. So we had that very early on into January. So that was our first meetup of the year. And we have also had our boot camp, which was in February. That was to mark, if you haven't checked that episode out, by the way, definitely go check that out. So we had the Falcon boot camp. This was to celebrate the 2-year anniversary. I wanted to do something and give back to the community. So what we did is just a random generator. We picked 30 people to attend that event, and it was just an incredible day just to give back, go through that process. And of course, we have a full edited version that's going to be going on the dashboard for the whole entire community to enjoy as well. But that was just an incredible day, and that was a great experience just to meet people in person again. So what's up next? Australia. So Australia is our next meetup, and we're going to be going there in about a week. So not long, I think it's, yeah, it's pretty much a week now So I can't wait for that. And so many of you in the Falcon community that have been in the project from the very beginning or from the last, year and 6 months, I've had so many conversations with you guys. So being able to come to the other side of the world, meet you in person, shake your hands, hear your stories in person, that was exactly the goal from the very beginning. So I'm really, really excited to that. We're going to be heading over to Sydney first, and then heading over to Brisbane, going down to the Gold Coast, and it's just going to be incredible. We've got so much planned, and we've got a video coming on that, so we'll be taking you through the whole process, so you'll see the aftermath of that, and you'll get to know people within the community, so I can't wait for all that. And what have we got after that? So June, so next major event is the Falcon Conference. This is our first ever conference. The Falcon Conference is going to be something that continues to grow and is truly going to be the blueprint for larger conferences in the future. So I believe the tickets are still out on general sale at the moment. So for those of you that are not actually Falcon members, you can purchase a general ticket if you're looking at that. And we'll probably put something in the link in the bio, any description for you guys and girls to check that out. But it's just going to be such a good day full of networking, learning. I'm going to be doing a keynote on goal setting, trading psychology. Our coaches at Falcon are going to be doing seminars as well on trading and all these various topics. There's going to be so much value dropped from that perspective. And we also have some guest speakers. So 2 guest speakers, I won't name them now, but one of them has tons and tons of experience, 30 years experience working in investment banks and training people to deal with the monetary amounts of trading millions. He's going to be doing a presentation and Q&A on trading psychology. That's going to be so helpful for you guys and girls. I can't wait for that. It's going to be insane. And we also have another personal development coach who has truly been living the laptop lifestyle and traveling all around the world, and is going to be going into some deep things into the subconscious brain, why people experience fear and how they can overcome it. So many practical tips to really free you from that prison in your mind and that inner dialogue that truly holds you back. So there's going to be so much value dropped in that day, so I can't wait for that. So that's going to literally fly by. As soon as we come back from Australia, I think it's about 2 months until the Falcon Conference, so really excited for that. And we've got meetups going on around the world. I think we've got one happening today, right now in Singapore. One of our coaches at Falcon, Jake, so Jake's actually hosting one of them in Singapore. He's traveling and training at the moment. That's going on in Singapore. And it's just awesome to see that happening all over the world. One happened in Glasgow last week, there's one in Milan, Australia, Brisbane. There was, I think, one in Melbourne recently as well again, and another one in Melbourne. They're just happening everywhere. People are holding themselves accountable. The great thing about our community is that, we really do support each other, and there's accountability groups where they meet up on a monthly basis. They review their progression. People are all levels. There's no egos here. Egos at the door. We're not here for that. We're here to grow as traders. And what you'll find is some of the most profitable traders are actually the most helpful traders, because we understand at Falcon that the more you give, the more you receive. And that's a very, very important philosophy to adopt. So it's so good to see that from the very beginning of what this has grown into. And I've always expanded within the team. So we've got lots of team members that make all this happen. We've got Alex behind the camera right now. And to make all this content, it takes a lot of work to make this project what it is. So really, really grateful for the team that I have, being able to create this mission and change people's lives all around the world, because that's what we're doing. And for me, being able to see that in person and meet people at things like the meetups and the conferences, it's amazing. We understand at Falcon, trading isn't just about reading a chart. It's about developing all areas of your life. And you can have strategy, and that's fine, and you can have a great strategy, and lots of different strategies work, but you need to have someone that's mentoring you through that process. That's why the course material that we have is not just a static course, because if you just take a static course, that might not be relevant in 6 months. The market is imperfect, it's not perfect. The conditions are not always perfect. They change and they evolve, and it's important as traders that we evolve with that. That's why Falcon, if you're a member in the community, you'll know that my style and management and entries had slowly evolved over the last 6 months. Why? Because I'm evolving with the market, and what does that do? It keeps us 10 steps ahead, and that's how we're seeing the progression that we're seeing within the community, and that's very, very important. Knowledge is one thing, but you need someone guiding you through that process, or you can just waste a lot of time. Like we've always said, in my book I talk about it a lot. Time is the most precious commodity that we have. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. And if you was to approach anyone in the 60s, 70s, people that have made millions, and you was to ask them, if you could give them if you could trade your youth, right, for millions or monetary value, they would write you out a check and give that to you. because that's important. We don't appreciate it now, but it's time. So at Falcon, the core mission is that, Forex is great and we can help people become financially free, but we want people to live out their passions and focus on what's truly important to you. If your passion is to spend more time with your kids and things like that, and we've been able to supply you with a strategy, guide you, help you, mentor you, and then you're financially free and you've taken on investment, or you're trading full time and you're able to spend more time with your friends and family and kids and things like that, that is the winner for us. That's mission complete. So that's the way that we're going. And I mean, the amount of content, the list that I could, ramble off that we've got from now until the end of the year, it's going to be game changing. We're working on some really, really exciting things, and I'm grateful to have every single person within the community. So again, thanks for tuning in and just regularly watching the videos. We always appreciate, the content and the comments that you drop. And just to leave it on that, actually, I just want to cover one thing before we finish up. Now you've got a bit of an insight into what's going to happen next. The amount of questions that we receive on a daily basis about what's involved in Falcon. What do I get? Is it a course? Is it mentorship? What can I expect? Am I getting signals and things like that? We don't do signals, firstly. Let's clear that one up. That's not serving anybody. What we do is educate and we teach people. But what I thought, just for this opportunity, what I'm going to just show you, we'll show you what you get on the back end so you can actually understand why we're progressing at the rate that we are. So then you can, have an insight. And if you feel that that's for you and you want to be part of that community, then feel free. But you know what? Let's take a look. Right, guys, so I'm just going to show you a brief overview of what's involved in Falcon, and hopefully that just answers all of the questions that come in. So let's take a look. So very, very important when you're trading that you have a good foundation. So what we created is something called the Foundation Series. This really lays the framework for you, whether you're a complete beginner and you're learning Forex for the first time, or you might have been trading for a while. Some of the lessons are going to seem a little bit basic when it comes to choosing and opening up a broker, how to place a trade and things like that, but that's fine. But still, you're going to take lots of value away from it. But it's really designed to cater for all levels, to take you all the way up to that intermediate towards the advanced level of understanding the Falcon way and principles. So we have the Foundation Series here. So with the Foundation Series, this is actually a video course, which we believe is actually the best way to learn. And this is really going to take you through the whole process. We've got technical analysis, the Falcon principles. So let's say, for example, we've gone into the Falcon principles. We've got a guide here, so of course you can track how much you've completed of the course. And it's really broken down into each of these sections so you can understand all of the processes, and you can pause, you can make notes. It's all there for you, and very important. So once you've actually understood the Foundation Series, we actually have something called the Pathway to Consistency. This lays this all out for you. So when you come in, you've got a pathway, you know exactly what content you're going to follow, you know what you're going to watch, and you can make those kind of goals and tick them off. So you've got that structured approach, which is very important. But the Foundation Series has just been an absolute game changer. Then you're going to move on to things like the weekly market breakdown. So the weekly market breakdown, this is something that I release every single week, and this is normally released depending on what time zone, but it generally comes out about 5 a.m. Sunday time. So, in the UK, you've pretty much got all of your Sunday from when you wake up to be up to date with the markets. And of course, in other time zones like Australia, you've got it, even if you're in Australia or New Zealand, you've got it at like, midday, 1 p.m. You've still got the whole of your Sunday to be able to actually catch up with that and, be ready for the market ahead. It's important that everybody's in the loop, which is why I started doing them even earlier on the weekend. So we've got that covered in all time zones. So this is me breaking down the markets and creating a watch list for the week ahead, a tailored watch list. So I'm going through that. I'm going through all of the lessons. This was actually a webinar that we had last week. So every month we have an accountability webinar, and this is live. So the other ones are pre-recorded, but the one at the end of the month, this is live. So that one was actually 4 hours, that one. That was an insane webinar. It went so fast as well, and it was so engaging from people all over the world. So I appreciate you all tuning in. So every single week, if we go to the weekly market breakdown, what I'm doing is I'm breaking down the market, getting people, these usually run for about an hour and 26 minutes, hour and a half, sometimes a little bit longer. And what it does is it breaks down all of the charts, the key opportunities that we're looking at, short-term, medium, and long-term, so you know exactly what to do within the markets. And the whole key is not for you to take signals from it and anything like that. Naturally, as a community, because we are focusing on these positions, we will capitalize on them together. But it's important that you do your analysis beforehand, before you watch the webinar. The best traders in the Falcon community are the ones that do their analysis beforehand. And then they compare, they make the tweaks, and they see if it's the same. What that does is that builds your confidence over time, which is why learning a strategy is one thing, but having experience on a regular basis is another thing. I could say one thing about the markets and you might think, I understand that makes sense. And then after a couple of weeks, it kind of goes through one ear and out the other because you don't fully understand it. It's because the subconscious brain works differently. It has to be penetrated a minimum of 10 times until it fully understands something. That's why you'll probably find, even if you've traded other strategies, you'll find that someone says something in a certain way that didn't make sense to you originally, and then they said exactly the same thing and you had that kind of aha moment, or it triggered for you, right? It's because the subconscious brain works differently. Now, I have that in mind and I'm always working to, how can I transfer this knowledge to different types of personalities? How can I help people? So we've got you covered in the loop, all time zones on a weekly basis, taking you through. I also, of course, I'm breaking down my watch list. I'm breaking down some wild cards, some extra pairs that may not have been developed yet. And we cover, of course, commodities and cryptos. And then we're going through our requested pairs. So these are the pairs that you guys and girls have actually sent in, and you've maybe got them on your watch list. And this is a really important part, actually, because it's important for you to do your analysis, and you might send a pair in, let's say CAD Yen, for example. I might not have it on my watch list, I might not have it in the wildcards, and I might say something to show you how I've filtered that. And then you can take that lesson away and say, right, I get it now. I understand why that wasn't in the watch list, whether that be due to the pattern, the higher time frame structure, or we just had some better, cleaner structured pairs. That's you making those regular tweaks, which is why having that mentoring on a weekly basis is how people are growing at such a rapid pace. And it's such a big, important part of the growth of the community. And I wish that I had that when I was 18, when I first started. So that is the weekly content. Now, what we do is we actually move into the midweek market review. So the midweek market review, this is of course on a Wednesday. This comes out, these usually run about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. This is the update in the middle of the week where I'm taking you through the development of the top 6, what's happened, what's changed, what opportunities have we looked at, and any kind of extra ones that are now on my radar that I'm looking at and thinking, do you know what, that's changed. Those opportunities, they're not clear anymore. Now let's pivot, which is what is important to do as a trader, especially if you're a full-time trader, and then look at those opportunities. So that's the middle of the week, updating you along the way. So those are the two core parts that are going to be an absolute game changer for you. Between all of that, I'm doing regular updates within the Falcon Slack channel. So if I see anything, I'm doing regular breakdowns where I will just jump in and make a 5 to 10 minute video, update people on my thoughts and let them know, do you know what, this is what's happened, this is what changed, can I have a look? So I'm always in there as well. But in terms of official content, if you like, that's our official content on a weekly basis. And then every 2 weeks, what I do is the bi-weekly. So these are my trade recaps. So essentially with the trade recaps, this comes with a video base, and it all comes with my advanced self-review document, which is a PDF. It's an Evernote document in which that you can actually study from a written format as well, so you can study that. But essentially these are the trades. So this previous one that we've got on part 2 March, 38 minutes long. What I aim to do with the trade recaps is not just tell you, right, I took this trade, this was a winner, this was a break even, or this was a loss. I'm explaining the lessons, the thought process, the management. How did I feel in the trade? What did I do? Why did I take the entry at that point? What's different? What can we learn from it? And what that does for you is that you can make those relevant tweaks and get an insight into a professional trader trading on a weekly basis. And then every 2 weeks, you can study that recap and you can make the relevant tweaks. I feel like that's so important, just at the core of having the weekly market breakdown, the midweek, and the trade recaps, not to mention the regular support within the community and me jumping in and helping people. I really feel like that's elevated people to a whole new level. And I feel like the community that we have, where everyone's so genuine and so helpful, it doesn't matter what level you are. Someone would just jump in and say, hey, I noticed that you had this. Why don't you try doing this a little bit differently? And you might find that works better for you. So I feel like all the egos have been dropped at the door, and that's really the culture of Falcon. So this is just a brief overview. We're not going to go too much into it, but I just wanted to give you an understanding because we get questions all the time, things like, am I going to get daily signals? Signals don't work for people. We've seen that. Have you ever heard one success story of someone that took a signal service and became a millionaire or quit their job? Have you heard one? Because I haven't, right? Guy takes signal service and creates financial freedom. It just doesn't happen. And I know you feel like at the beginning that that's what I should do. And I mean, we've all been guilty of doing it at some point in our trading journey, especially if you've been in trading for a while. But the truth is, we're creating independent traders here. And that is so important. Not just trading, but goal setting, focusing on all areas of life. Being surrounded by like-minded people is so, so important. And that brings me to the last part that I want to actually cover, which is the 90-day plan. So I'm on day 2 of my new 90-day plan, which I'll be recording in my journal. And this is actually the 90-day plan template that we have within Falcon. And we may actually be able to do a free guide one for you guys and girls on YouTube. And essentially this just breaks it down fully. I've had this printed out, and you get the online version within Falcon. But essentially it's so important to have a plan. And the reason why we have this plan every 90 days, and if there's one bit of value you can take away from this video, I really want you to absorb this. Whether you've come to the channel for the first time and you're just interested in trading, or whether you're actually not interested in trading and that you just want to look for personal development, you happen to stumble across the channel, the 90-day plan is so important, guys and girls. The reason why we set the 90-day plans is because I feel like, having written a book on goal setting myself, I feel like people, they judge themselves way too hard very early on. They set things like, let's call it trading for example. They'll set a goal that I want to be consistently profitable, or I want to quit my job and be full-time in 6 months. Then guess what? Those 6 months go by and then they're not full-time, and they think, do you know what, I failed. Not realizing that they haven't failed, they're just early on in the process and they need to make the relevant tweaks. How can you just put a deadline on it, right? You need to be flexible with that. You can't just put a deadline on that and say that just because you said it in 6 months that it had to happen, and because it didn't, then you're a failure? Not at all. That's where people overlook the progression they've actually made. So with the 90-day plan, what this is designed to do is actually measure your progression. So what you do, you have it part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. So we've just finished our first 90 days. We're on to part 2 now within the community. It keeps you focused, keeps you on track, and then you're going to be measuring your progression. So then what you can look at the end of the next quarter is say that, right, it's been 90 days, what's happened? Your mind goes in more of an empowering state rather than a negative state. As humans, we tend to focus on the negative rather than looking at the progression. We often look at what we haven't done rather than what we have done. So we say, right, I'm not consistent, or I'm not full-time yet, not realizing that 6 months ago you knew nothing about trading, and now you're maybe this close to breaking through and suddenly you're a failure. I don't think so. You've made so much progression and you don't even realize it. So the 90-day plan is a way to keep your mind in check from a measurement perspective. So that's what I do. I'm not judging myself. Yes, I have goals and I'm aiming for a particular date, if you like, but I'm not so hard on myself if I don't hit it. Some goals I achieve 1 month before, some of them a year later. I've sometimes completely underestimated how long it takes to get a goal, and it is what it is. It's forever ongoing, but I find the 90-day plan is so helpful because you can measure your progression. So split it up into things like mindset. You could have a goal, for example, let's call it a trading goal. Your trading goal could be around back testing and all those kind of things, like trading based topics. You could have a fitness goal, for example, and then you could have a personal development goal, which is about reading. It's the metric to track your goals that I want to really share with you. The metric that I want you to track your goals is based off of the 5-5-5 rule, and that's what I want to share with you and leave you with. So what you can do every single day, grab a journal. You can do it. You can actually do it in your Evernote. You can do it whatever you want, or in your phone. But I highly recommend writing it down. I've always been very attached to writing things down, and I've got journals from 2010, 11, 12, constantly documented. So what you can do is every day just be committed to writing down 5 daily goals. Even if you've done that, 5 daily goals. Watch how by ticking off those 5 daily goals, it gives you that momentum that you need. And I think people, they underestimate how much you can achieve in a week if you just tick off 5 daily goals that are important to your bigger goal. So if it's trading, for example, then within your 5 daily goals, you might have one goal, which is go to the gym and do a push and pull workout. One of your goals might be to do with personal development, and it's reading. So you read 30 minutes of the Chimp Paradox or Trading in the Zone. And another one would be, a back testing goal, for example, back test 1 year of data on, Aussie Kiwi, for example. And it's just having that structured little routine. It's normally the insignificant things like ticking off 5 daily goals. They think, oh, that's not important. They're searching for this one big thing that they can do, not realizing it's those little tiny steps that you do on a consistent basis that pushes you. So let me know in the comments below if you do end up doing the 90-day plan, or you get yours structured, or if you start utilizing the 5-5-5 rule and you just tick off 5 daily goals. You're going to find it a game changer for you. I can assure you that. So guys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed this overall episode. A little bit different, but I just wanted to give you an update. It's just been crazy these last 10 episodes, and we've got a real structure and direction of where we're going within the Falcon YouTube channel. And I mean, the content we've got in the works for the community is really, really mind-blowing. Currently in the markets today, currently long on Aussie Kiwi from the webinar that's still playing out quite nicely. This is actually a longer term trade that we're focusing on at the moment, which is looking very, very key. especially after we broke out of this type falling wedge formation. We've got our impulse correction and continuation. I'll be holding this for the longer term on the bigger degree, and I mean, in the webinar, you know exactly what I'm talking about from that respect. But there are a few key opportunities in the market right now. We have had a few things, just taking a look actually. This will give you a good insight actually. When it comes to things like routine, people often ask, you know, how long do you spend on the charts? And it really depends on the activity of the market. So for example, I've got a few pairs on my watch list within the top 6 that I'm actually looking at, that I'm really focusing on. In particular, euro dollar is approaching that key area. So within a little while, probably, I mean, we're looking like a day or so, maybe even sooner, we're looking for some key opportunities on euro dollar. It's approaching a very key area, and I'll be keeping you guys and girls updated within Slack as well. That's looking really good. There is a big buy coming, so depending on what strategy you trade, there'll be a big buy coming on euro dollar, either any day now or a little bit lower. Now, of course, it takes strategy to understand that, but there will be a big buy on euro dollar, and we'll get a lot of weakness on the DXY. Kiwi CAD is still moving to the downside. Overall target to hit at about 18.5%. That's running nicely. It's crazy to think we're 2 days in, and the level of growth that we've hit within the community so far has just been insane. I'm currently only in Aussie Kiwi at the moment for, you know, the month so far, so it's looking like it's going to be a very, very rewarding month. And don't rush it. Don't rush it. If you're a trader, you often feel like you have to rush things, but we've got some good opportunities in the market. I'll be doing some more trading based content very, very soon, just to give you more of a structured outline of how you can start to structure your charts. But of course, if you want to learn more of an in-depth overview, that takes time, and you do need the guidance. There's only so much that we can, you know, put out there on YouTube and things like that. And you will learn a lot of good things that you can take away and learn that for yourself. But if you really want to get ahead, you have to be willing to invest in your education and have a structured routine. It's so, so important. But guys and girls, I'm going to get back to the markets. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Can't wait for the next one. Stay tuned. Have an incredible week.